What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the wonderful Nerd Crew podcast. I am your man, Andy York, joined as always by the Trish to my Jessica Jones, Jason Lee. Jason, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday evening?
It's conflicted.
Conflicted?
Conflicted because I really enjoyed the Marvel Netflix shows, but I am generally doing well, other than that.
Yes. Other than the death of our beloved shows, we are doing well. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you are listening to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, or if you are with us in the chat for our live stream every Tuesday on YouTube.com, if you will go to our YouTube page, The Nerd Crew, which we will talk about at the end. But if you will go to our YouTube channel, The Nerd Crew, you will be able to watch us every Tuesday, see our beautiful, sexy faces every single week, and talk to us and interact with us in the chat. It was a lot of fun last week. We're hoping for more fun this week because there wasn't a lot that happened this week. It was kind of a dead week. Well, yeah. Dead week is a bad... too soon. It's too soon. It's too soon. But before we jump into anything else, Jason, since you are... Do you want me to go ahead and go first, or do you have what you're...
I got it.
Okay, it took you a little while. But Jason, what are you into this week?
So I didn't accomplish a whole lot this week, and I didn't get into anything new this week in particular, except for this morning when I turned on Minecraft in the first time in a very long time. And I found out that there are parrots in Minecraft, and there are llamas in Minecraft, and rabbits, and all kinds of animals
there
that
are
you
llamas?
can spawn. Yeah. I found all of this out. There's new types of wood. I'm not surprised. I'm just, it's an exciting thing.
Right, yeah.
There are gliders that you can use for wings. I didn't know any of this because I haven't played Minecraft.
Is it turning into Fortnite?
A long time. No. Thank God. Thank God. But it's pretty enjoyable. I like how they're fleshing all these different things out. I like how they're adding new animals, adding new dynamics to the game where you can glide around. And it's still a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun to play with other people.
Yeah.
Me and my wife and my brother played it this morning for a lot longer than we should have. So that's what I'm into this morning.
Well, this evening, yeah. Today, this week, whatever day it is. What I'm into this week is I wasn't going to do it. I told myself I'm not going to do it because I love the first one. The second one was just okay. But I went ahead and bought Kingdom Hearts 3, and so far it's been good. I'm not very far into it, but it's still a lot of fun. It kind of picks up right where 2 left off, so if you don't remember how 2 ended, you need to go back and watch 2 because you are very, very confused when it opens up. But then it kind of starts to make sense and kind of rolls with it. But yeah, it's so far so good. Hopefully next week I'll be able to come back and say, hey, it's still pretty good. And then also, I'll do for a twofer. I've started trying to watch The Punisher Season 2 again, and I got 3 episodes in even more. It's actually gotten a lot better. It actually kind of picks up a little bit. Because the first few episodes were a little slow. But it kind of starts to pick up, starts to kind of get back into the flow. So it's still really cool. Plus, Frank Castle's probably one of my favorite characters ever. The Punisher is just great. And John, whatever his name is, Bernthal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he plays Castle so well. So it's starting to be a really good show.
That's something about Marvel Netflix that's kind of an extension of the MCU in that they are amazing at casting.
Yes.
All of Marvel Netflix is, Danny Rand. But other than him,
I don't count
all
him.
of them are so well cast. Even the Iron Fist supporting characters, for the most part,
are better than him.
Are really well cast.
Yeah.
Right. He's probably the worst casting decision in the entire MCU. But apart from him, Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones, John Bernthal as the Punisher, Charlie Cox as Daredevil, Mike Coulter as Luke Cage. They're all fantastic.
Yep.
Especially John Bernthal.
I think he fits his character better than. Well, I don't know. Jessica Jones, she fits really, really close too.
Yeah, they're my 2 favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love them all. I think they're all absolutely fantastic. But yeah, we'll talk about the death of the Marvel Netflix universe here in a little bit. For the first time ever, we have a live audience while we're doing this.
We do have a live studio audience.
So
welcome.
If you hear any claps or anything else, then
any just cheers that can't be held back.
We're not Oprah, so you're not getting anything for free. Well, you got a Coke for free, so that's
There we go.
So, no, Gump, I have not seen The Umbrella Academy yet, but it is on my list to watch because I've heard nothing but amazing things about it.
Me too. Yeah.
So, once I get... Actually, I may just start watching it and then finish The Punisher at some point.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about it. So, yeah, that's on my list to watch. Don't worry, it's before Harry Potter. Harry Potter's all the way at the bottom. So, because of you, Gump. I love you, Gump.
But it's below Lord of the Rings. Right?
Yes, but I have to wait for spring break to watch.
You scheduled Lord of the Rings,
yes,
so that's okay.
Yes, I will watch Lord of the Rings over spring break. That will be my episode right after spring break. Mm-hmm. This will be all about the Lord of the Rings.
Now, my episode right after spring break, well, it's got to be Captain Marvel, and then we can do Lord of the Rings.
Yes,
because that comes out on spring break. I'm also having an MCU marathon on March 5th and 6th. 4th, 5th, and 6th.
We may have to push the Lord of the Rings back a little bit.
So, even though this was a slow week, in like 2 weeks, we're going to have like 3 episodes lined up in a row. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yes. Which is very unusual for us. So,
yeah.
we have the Captain Marvel episode already scheduled in, and then we have the Avengers Endgame scheduled in for like 2 weeks. So, it's going to be 2 weeks of that probably.
Today we got here and we were like, what do we want to talk about today?
Yeah.
Well, what happened this week?
What happened? Well, besides the death of the Marvel Netflix universe, nothing really happened.
Yeah.
I do want to get your take, and I didn't tell you about this because it just hit my mind when he talked about the Umbrella Academy, because there's another team-up show coming out very soon on the DC platform.
Oh, not what I was thinking about.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about what you're thinking about here in a second. Called Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer for it?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
My thoughts, everyone is praising it, and I'm not going to watch it until it hits Netflix, inevitably, because Titans hit Netflix like 2 months or something after it came out on DC Universe.
Did it really?
Yeah, it was really quick. I might be totally off on that, but from what I remember, I was like, this is on Netflix already? Like, wow. But I'm expecting Doom Patrol to hit Netflix, and when it does, I am somewhat interested in watching it. Mm-hmm. And they got Brendan Fraser back into acting, which is an achievement on its own. But I haven't flat out enjoyed DC content, live action DC content, for a very long time. So I'm hoping that this can be something that I really do enjoy. Mm-hmm. I do have to watch Titans as well. I haven't watched that yet, just because the trailer just kind of scarred me.
Yes.
And I was like just so disinterested, and I'm hearing it's okay, but then it's like not okay. But with Doom Patrol, it's been almost unanimously
that it's great.
Positive.
Yeah. That's all I've heard. I watched the first 2 episodes of Titans, and it's just okay. Yes, Gump, it is kind of tough that Cyborg in Doom Patrol looks a lot better than he did in the Justice League movie.
Yes. So neither of them are very good. And
no.
My issue in Justice League, he's 95% bad CGI. And that's his issue throughout the entire movie, is that just half of his face and all of his body is just bad CGI. In Doom Patrol, it looks like a Halloween costume. It's better. It's an improvement.
It looks like a homemade Halloween costume.
It looks like a homemade cosplay, is what I was looking for. And there are... if Doom Patrol is a show that's focusing on the characters, I can see why they didn't take a ton of care and attention to the costumes, and I think it works. And if I see the show and it doesn't really bug me, then it works. It's
right.
So we'll have to see.
We'll just have to. It's one of those that I think some people are going to love it. Some people are going to. I don't think it's going to be for everybody. I think Titans is the same way.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really for everybody. Speaking of, basically, today's episode is all about the TV shows of every franchise. And we're going from DC to Marvel, where the new Loki show that will be on the Disney Plus streaming app, the plot for it was leaked or revealed or rumored. Rumored. So I think you probably know more about the plot than I do, so I'll let you kind of go ahead and give your deep dive on what it is, if you remember. If not, I can look it up real quick as well.
Well, the initial rumored plot was something that a lot of people didn't like, but I kind of did.
Okay.
And it was focusing on a younger version of Loki, focusing on a kid Loki, and having Tom Hiddleston narrate the events of his younger self. And I thought that was an interesting premise. I don't think it's as interesting as the premise that's been rumored lately, which would be Tom Hiddleston's Loki, kind of journeying through time and affecting different events in history. Of course, we don't know which events.
Right.
But affecting different events in history, I think that could be so much fun. And, like, the reason that people love Loki is just, like, the shenanigans and the charisma and the personality. And I think that you could get all of that so much. I think it would be really, really cool to see. Especially events in American history, because
that would be cool.
What I know about. But
yes,
it would be really sweet.
That would be cool. Plus, more of Tom Hiddleston, and I'll be really, really happy. I love Tom Hiddleston.
Right.
He's a fantastic actor. Gump said that he just checked, and Titans isn't on Netflix, so that was a little rough. Nico said, "Rumor leak revealed is my favorite movie podcast."
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm very excited about like all of the shows coming to the Disney Plus. I think they'll all be really great. Loki though, I think gives me more like intrigue than any of the other ones, just because of who he is, like his character. I think that it's going to be if they go that route, if they go the way of going back through time and messing with events, things like that. I think that's a really, really interesting aspect. But I think it just kind of all depends on what happens at Endgame. Like, during Endgame, if he's brought back, blah, 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 whatever. Because I think it would be kind of hard for him to have his own TV show, but then kind of still be around in the MCU. I think that would be kind of parallel, depending on how they did. I think they could do it, but I still think it would be a little bit different.
I think that his death in Infinity War was a good and solid end to his story and an end to his arc. And I can see them doing a TV show about him, especially if he's kind of like in Hell with one L.
Yes.
In Hell, the realm, and kind of like narrating the events from there, or in Valhalla, either way.
Right.
So I can see them kind of just keeping him around even after his death, even without bringing him back, which would feel kind of cheap at this point. They can keep him around just because he's such a popular character and they know that people want to see more of him.
Right.
Especially if they have him like in Valhalla or something, kind of talking about what's happening.
I do agree, though. I think his death in Infinity War really kind of captured his character of like a character who is always about himself, super greedy, and then that's what cost him his life in Infinity War when he messed with Thanos and everything like that. So I think that's a really good end for his character.
It was also his redemption arc.
Right.
Of being finally allegiant to Asgard.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like it was a good end, but I'd still like to see more of him.
Oh, yeah.
So
I would too. So going from that, really the only other thing to talk about, besides our, not announcement, but what we have to go through, is the death of the Marvel Netflix universe. So yesterday, it was announced that Jessica Jones, after season 3, and then The Punisher after 2 seasons, has officially been has officially been killed by Netflix. Decimated, yes. The Defenders can't defend anymore. Yeah, it's sad. But we all knew it was coming. We all saw it coming because of everything else. There's no way they were going to keep just those 2 shows around and get rid of Daredevil and everything else. So, after you heard the news, what was your reaction? What are your thoughts? What do you think goes on from here? Things like that.
I don't think anyone was at all surprised.
No.
However, I am glad that this news came after the other news, which I don't think that we've addressed. And I think it came out within the past week, actually, is that the Hulu president, I think, or co-president or something like that, kind of made a comment about, before these cancellations, made a comment about
Daredevil,
the possibility of the Marvel Netflix shows going to Hulu. And it would have to be after 2 years, because Netflix still has those rights for the next 2 years. But head of Marvel TV, Jeff Loeb, also made a similar comment to where he could totally see those shows being revived on Hulu. The issue would be having to move the previous seasons
from Netflix to
Hulu. But it would be really cool to have, and I think I did touch on this last week.
Yeah, I think we did talk about it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, really cool to have kind of like a satellite streaming universe. outside of the Disney stuff with Hulu. And it would be an opportunity to kind of get into darker, more grounded territory like we've already gotten from Netflix.
Yeah.
So I think that could totally work, and I'm glad that there's kind of like that sliver of hope before these last 2 shows got canned, but I don't think anyone was at all surprised.
No. It really sucks for everybody, like in each show, because they all really put their heart and soul into those shows. Like everybody, even the guy that played Danny Rand, he still gave a little. Like he still showed up. Everything else, He tried. But like Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Punisher, all of them, they showed up. They did outstanding jobs. Whether you just thought the seasons were okay or everything else, everybody gave 110%. I don't think we'll ever see a run like Daredevil had, probably in a long time, of just 3 really consistent seasons of just absolute epicness and like awesomeness. And then Punisher, like we've talked about it, season 1 of the Punisher is one of our favorite seasons of the Marvel Netflix universe. Season 2 is a little slower, but it's still a really solid season. I think. And then Jessica Jones season 1 and 2 we both love. Luke Cage season 1 and 2 we both really enjoyed, and then Iron Fist and Defenders. But like really, all of these shows don't need to just go away. Like something has to revive these characters, whether it's on the big screen or on the Disney streaming app. Personally, I would much rather them see them on the Disney streaming app to kind of stay the same way they are, like you were saying, and instead of kind of having to go to a more family friendly, because I don't really think you can make the Punisher family friendly and do him justice. So I really think that this would be a really, really strong showing if they went from Netflix to Hulu, and I think it would work really well. Plus, I just saw Nico's comment. Frank Castle should be in that group therapy session with Cap in Endgame. My mind would be blown. That would be really cool if he's just sitting there. He won't be because I have to wait 2 years, but I would freak out if I saw that.
That would be cool. Another opportunity that they have on Hulu is that they already host Runaways.
And Cloak and Dagger. Yep.
Cloak and Dagger airs on Freeform, but it kind of goes to Hulu after release. And I think Runaways is based in Los Angeles, and I haven't gotten to see it yet.
I think so.
I think it's based outside of New York, but I still think that there's crossover potential there, which would be incredible. And if they were to kind of build up, connectivity, because that's one of the issues I think with Defenders, is that it's well thought out and it's connected well, but it's not to the standard of like the MCU, to where it's really like intricately thought out by Kevin Feige, who's just kind of like this singular head creatively of what's happening. The Netflix Marvel universe doesn't have the connectivity. It's still above like DCCW in terms of connectivity, but it's not quite to the level of like other Marvel content. So I would like to see, more things cross over and things like that, and just kind of like a less messy version of what we've got now. Yeah,
well, we talked about even last week doing on Hulu Heroes for Hire. Like that would be really cool to have Heroes for Hire. So with all this being said, what do you expect from Jessica Jones season 3? I think it comes out in June. I think that sounds right. I'll look while you.
Jessica Jones season 3. So spoilers for season 2, kind of in like some of the last shots of season 2 in the last episode, we see kind of Hellcat indicated. From Trish Walker, she's getting those advanced reflexes, which is interesting. I have high hopes in it, and I love Jessica's character. I don't expect her to die. I will say that.
I hope not.
That would kind of suck, and that would kind of put a sock in the plans to hopefully revive them on Hulu. But beyond that, I really don't have any idea. I mean, I know that we're getting Hellcat, and maybe
they've kind of been teasing since season 1, really. We have to have another Kilgrave cameo. Like we have to.
I hope so, because they're so... Jessica and Kilgrave are so intertwined, and it's just like you really don't have Jessica Jones without Kilgrave. I mean, they're one of those superhero, supervillain pairings that are just, always involved with each other. and he's such a huge part of her story. So I would expect that he would show back up.
For sure.
Like Kingpin with Daredevil.
Yeah.
He was in all 3 seasons.
I just saw that Jessica Jones is supposed to come out in mid to late of 2019. So July, August, September, something like that. So let me look at the chat real quick. Gump says Marvel needs to make a separate universe with more street level characters. I wouldn't say a separate universe. I think it would be kind of cool to have, the Defenders, but then you could also add in like Squirrel Girl if you wanted to. Which I would be totally fine with. I think that would be great.
If they revived New Warriors and put it on Hulu, that would be amazing, because they filmed a pilot for a New Warriors show that I think had like Speedball and Night Thrasher and Squirrel Girl, and that show would have been awesome.
Yes.
I would have loved to see that. If they plugged that in there, if they introduced Blade, if they did kind of like a Hulu universe, if they introduced Moon Knight, that would be amazing. Even like Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider.
Yeah, or like even if you wanted to introduce like Moon Knight. Like, if you wanted to bring Moon Knight, or because I've said Moon Knight several times because I love Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I want Moon Knight. But I think you could introduce, like, a lot of street-level characters and just have them cross over, like you said. They could be, quote, in a separate, like, have their separate shows if you wanted to, but then you could also do crossover events, kind of like the CW does, where they stay separate, but then they also have, like, 1 to 2 in each season. They have, like, a massive crossover event.
But something better than Defenders.
Yes, something better than
Defenders.
Listen,
and you could call it something like Marvel Knights if you were to have Moon Knight, Blade, maybe even Cloak and Dagger, Ghost Rider thrown in with the Defenders, put the Runaways in there. You could have like
bring in the Inhumans,
an Infinity War of Hulu. Yeah, bring in the Inhumans.
Yes, bring that show back. Bring that show back. #, revive Inhumans. No.
I don't think that's ever been tweeted.
I don't think that will ever be tweeted.
Time.
I don't think that ever will be tweeted.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because like the Inhumans are so cool.
Yeah.
Like they're so cool.
Well, they did get a movie in November of last year, don't you remember? That was on the schedule since 2014.
It's been pushed back till when? Or did it get canned?
It got canned and turned into the show. The Inhumans movie.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know.
That's so depressing.
That's one of Marvel. That's one of the MCU's big mistakes. It's up there on the level of splitting with Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
And other things that
they haven't done a whole lot of.
They've gotten a lot of things right, but they have made
firing James Gunn.
Yeah,
that's one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Because now he went to DC and is doing Suicide Squad,
which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, but I don't need a second Suicide Squad movie. We've talked about that a lot, though.
Yeah.
Separate but still same. Yes, for sure. Yes, separate but same universe to have a potential crossover with the Avengers or other characters.
I think that's something. Is that one of the beautiful things about the MCU is that it all takes place in the same universe.
Yeah.
So even if you don't have crossovers, you can still have references to different events, which people like myself like. And that's one of the issues with DC, is that, or not really, I should say issues, but just inherent differences, is that they're split up into all these different universes, so you're kind of cutting down on your reference potential or your crossover potential.
Yeah.
I don't expect to see, unless it's just handled like majestically, I don't expect to see small screen characters on
with
the
big screen. Yeah.
Or really vice versa, apart from Nick Fury and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because Samuel L. Jackson will just show up anywhere because he's super cool.
And he's the best guy to do it, for sure.
Yeah. And like Agent Coulson.
But like you said, I think like little nods, because like even in, was it Daredevil? Where you got to see in the paper.
In the bulletin?
Yeah, in the bulletin, the background about the Hulk wrecking Harlem and then the events of New York. Like little stuff like that where they're like, we're in the same universe, but we kind of aren't. Like that's still really cool to me.
And that's something I think that their universe could really benefit from, is that most of the seasons of the Marvel Netflix shows don't even reference like anything. And I'm not saying go reference, and I think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of strikes that healthy balance to where it's apparent that these things are taking place in the same universe, but it's not like riding on the back. Because I don't feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really rides on the back of the MCU success.
Right.
And I feel like the Marvel Netflix characters and the Defenders could benefit from a little bit more of that, because there's so much lore that they've built up over the past like 11 years of making movies that it would just make sense to kind of talk about these world-ending events like maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
I do think another character though that could pop up from TV shows to the movies and back is if you wanted to do like Phil Coulson or something like that. Depending on what happens in season 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which spoilers if you haven't seen
somehow
those.
you know what happens at the
I saw,
season
because
5.
I've looked at the spoilers. I was confused when I read it, but that means I have to go back and watch it. But
yeah, you do.
I can go watch spoilers and then jump back if I need to. That's totally fine. But I do think there are a lot of options that you can do with reviving all of these characters in like 2 years or so. And like the tease and the hype that you could do like 2 years from now, building into it, I think that would be on another level. Especially whatever they're doing in the MCU at that point. Especially after what happens in Endgame, everything else. I think it all could really fit together and be really, really cool.
Really, all that they have to do is imitate their own business model.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the CW has already done it to greater success than Marvel Netflix or the MCU or a lot of other things, because they've crossed over. Even if I'm kind of iffy on the show's quality in the first place, they've crossed over Green Arrow, Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning. I think they've crossed over a bunch of different things, and I think that Marvel Netflix could benefit so well from kind of imitating that.
Doing the same
model.
thing. Yeah. Which is weird to say that Marvel should copy something DC did, but hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So.
Well, to be fair, DC kind of copied something that the MCU did.
No, they would never.
No.
They would never do that.
Of course not.
Never. Do you have any other thoughts or anything like that?
No, I would just say that kind of sucks, because if I had to rank the shows, one would be Daredevil. I mean, I think it's just like the best
you could have done.
Book,
yep.
Or like superhero TV show ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jessica Jones, Punisher. Well, in terms of quality, Luke Cage, Punisher, Iron Fist.
Depending on how season 2 ends.
Right, because Luke Cage season 2 was really, really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. And then Defenders after Iron Fist or before?
Before.
Man, it would have been fine. Like, listen, we've talked about this before. We both, and Daredevil, loved Elektra. Like, she was absolutely amazing. But in Defenders, man, like, in Defenders, she was awful. Like, she was... And, you lost me when you were talking about the dragon under the city and everything else. I was like, come on now. Like, can we not just have this be a normal... Like, the idea of the hand is really cool. Like, should have worked really, really, really well. But for some reason, it didn't.
The issue with Defenders is that they didn't build up investment in the characters or in their stories far enough, and the characters didn't really feel like themselves in Defenders either, which was really strange. They didn't really build the hype for it, and it felt really convoluted, and the hand just felt super convoluted, and you just didn't care enough to really engage with it where it wants you to be.
Right.
So Defenders had a lot of issues, and if Hulu kind of revives Marvel Netflix a couple years down the road, start with Defenders Season 2 and make it amazing, and prove that you can make a great Defenders show.
Come out swinging. Yep.
That would be awesome.
For sure. All right. Every time I see the moon in an MCU movie, I'm like, hey, the Inhumans live there. Yes, I'm reading the comments, by the way. If you are listening to this on SoundCloud and you're really confused. Yes, I finished Inhumans. They're all on Earth. They left the bad guy on the moon. That's weird.
Was it Maximus?
I didn't even watch it. I'm not going to watch it either.
I'll ask the chat.
Yes, was it Maximus? Let's see here. Gump says, that's funny because I don't know what that's in reference to. I always wanted the foot soldiers in the fight against Thanos to be TV characters. That would be kind of cool.
It would be cool. It would also be very messy and extremely difficult.
Yeah.
And I think going into Infinity War, it was a lot easier to envision Daredevil, in New York fighting the children of Thanos somehow. It was a lot easier to envision that before we got to the actual movie. And I think Infinity War is still an incredible crossover, and I completely see why they didn't do that. Even though it would have been like a blessing from the comic gods.
And even if you'd have just seen, like, not even, I don't even need a lot. If I'd have just seen, like, his little, whatever it's called, the little, what do you use as a weapon?
Almost called a staff.
The baton or whatever.
Yeah.
If you'd have just seen, like, his, like, come flying and just take somebody out, like, that would just be, I think everybody would have just freaked out a little bit. I think that would have just sufficed it enough.
It would be cool. It would just be messy.
Yeah,
That's
it would
the
be
only
messy.
issue. And if I think it would take way too many resources to have made that work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be cool. It would be incredible, but
you have to think
extremely
logical
difficult.
when you
The
for
Russo
sure.
brothers already have like a zillion things on their plate.
Yes.
So.
Did you hear there's a DC comic about ScoobyDoo with zombies and it's rated R and has Fred die?
Good.
Turn that into a movie. That'd be the best DC movie ever, I'm pretty sure.
ScoobyDoo, Fred dies.
That's yes, for sure. We needed a dragon in Iron Fist. Yes, if you're gonna put a dragon, a dragon in Iron Fist.
They have them walk into the cave, and I think we just hear something.
Yeah, that's it.
No, and it's like Iron Fist already looks like terrible. Like
right.
The VFX.
If you'd have put a dragon in it, it'd have made it so much better.
It would have been like a 2002 PS2 game Dragon if they would have put that in Iron Fist.
Yes, it would have. But hey, it'd been better.
I got my year off on that.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes, it was Maximus. So,
great.
Shocker. Yep, I definitely started to realize that when the Guardians showed up in the first Infinity War trailer, LOL, I was like, there are so many characters. Yes, there was a lot of characters.
Oh yeah.
In Infinity War, but they all got like the specific touch they needed. Except for Hulk.
Consolidated them to a relatively simple plot and focused it around Thanos, and I think that was a super smart decision. And you kind of like split the characters up into groups.
Right.
I think if the Defenders were to have appeared, it would have only been in the New York fight. It would have only been in the initial New York fight. They're not going to go into space.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not going to go to Wakanda or anything. It would have been a little bit strange and out of place, and I don't know how much they could have accomplished since they're just like a different power level. They're just a street power level.
Right.
But again, I've already talked about that. So
yeah.
in our dreams, it would work.
Yes. In our dreams, or hey, if you like crossover, just go read the comics. Those are the best. Those are the best crossovers you'll ever get. All right, so that does it for that part of our episode and our podcast. This time, right now, we've got a little business to take care of.
Yes.
Not business, but business. We have found out, and somebody mentioned this in the comments, but then you also brought this up, that there is on, what's it called?
Red Letter Media.
Red Letter Media. There is already a nerd crew.
And Red Letter Media is immensely popular.
Yeah, and there's
for good reason, because their content is amazing.
Right. You can't be putting other people's content on our
I
content.
I can plug a channel with like 1 million subscribers, I think.
That's true. Hashtag sub to PewDiePie. Don't.
Right.
Don't. PewDiePie is awful. Don't do it.
He's hilarious, but that's a conversation for another episode.
We'll do a whole podcast on PewDiePie. How about that?
Yeah.
We'll do a whole podcast on
it.
it.
Get so many views.
It would.
Drama, YouTuber drama.
We're calling you out, Pewds. No, we're not. All right, so what we're going to have to do, we've talked about this, we're going to have to come up with some sort of rebranding, renaming something. Mm-hmm. We've already got a few ideas. Well, by we, I mean Jason already has a few ideas that I'll let him run by you. And kind of, we want everybody's opinion. We're going to talk about it a little bit. So, Jason, if you want to go ahead and give your suggestions.
All right, so I asked I asked people in my life for different ideas because
the hobo
I'm not
down
a
the street
person. I am very far from a creative person. I'm a very analytical person. So like if somebody tells me an idea and I think it's terrible, then I'll tell you that. Of course, that's not the full definition of analytical, but I'm trying to apply it to this.
Right.
So here are the 4 ideas that we have right now that may work, and we're also going to put a poll up on Twitter for people who are not on YouTube and can't really vote in the comments.
Yes.
And I will also say, if you have an idea, a serious or a funny idea for our kind kind of rebranding, then leave it with us because we can use all the help we can get.
Yes, we can.
Right now. So, number 1, Quantum Podcast. Now, I kind of like this one because it is kind of a indirect reference to the MCU, which is like 50% or more of what we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we're really invested in. And probably the thing that we're the biggest fans of. And I think I say that like every episode.
Yes.
But we do talk an awful lot about the MCU. And not just because it's a reference to the quantum realm or things that are happening in the MCU right now, but it also sounds cool. Quantum is a very cool word.
It is. It is a very cool word.
It's very snappy. So I want something that really sticks, really pops. Quantum Podcast.
Quantum.
Number 2, The Dorks Next Door. Now, I was talking about this with Andy. We don't want to oversell our podcast. We also don't want to undersell our podcast.
Right.
And I feel like this is a name that, what am I trying to say?
It kind of fits.
It does kind of fit.
It fits.
Because we are not some gods of comic knowledge.
No.
But we do know what we're talking about.
For the most part.
You know, to a degree. And we kind of, we're here to foster discussion. And that's what we really enjoy, is we just enjoy discussing things with each other and with other people in the comments section and on Twitter and a bunch of different places. So I feel like Dorks Next Door definitely works.
It does.
Number 3, Tuesday Night Nerds, or Tuesday Night Geeks, whichever one you want to do. Now, that is a direct reference to the fact that we record on Tuesday nights.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And I think that one, thank you, live studio audience, I think that one...
that one kind of sticks us, though, with only Tuesday nights.
Right.
Like, we couldn't do any other kind of content.
If we record on a Friday...
Oh, we are not the Tuesday night.
Right, yeah. Today we're the Friday Night Geeks.
We're the Friday Night Geeks.
Right, just like...
It sounds like Friday Night Lights. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't talk about football. Well, we've talked about football twice. Just how bad the halftime shows were.
Right. Because I don't know anything about football, so it would just be you talking about it. And the last one is Geek Speak with Jason and Andy. Now, there is already a Geek Speak, which is I think it was a technology podcast when I looked up the name. But that's why we put on the tagline with Jason and Andy. Or with Andy and Jason. I think that one could be interchangeable. I feel like there's a lot of flexibility there.
There is a lot of flexibility. So, Gump said, the Dorks Next Door, make it that. So that's one. That is
I will
one.
put that down for one
Yes.
note.
And he said no, Dorks Next Door. He said that's good. So yeah, we want to hear from you. We want to hear if you like any of those. If you don't, if you have your own suggestion, leave them in the comments. Like we said, we'll put a poll on Twitter and on YouTube. So if you want to vote in both, that's fine. We'll check both out. We'll do both.
Definitely.
I think right now, though, Dorks Next Door is the leader. I really enjoy Dorks Next Door.
I have a coworker who actually, I was like, hey, I offhandedly mentioned that I was like, I'm trying to think of names for me and my friend's podcast because we're getting stomped by a channel with 1 million subscribers.
Right.
Which isn't really the case, but
they probably don't even know we exist. I can promise you that.
Guaranteed. So, what would be something that you would name a podcast that's not overselling, not underselling, just kind of like, promoting discourse about the things that we like.
Right.
He's like, Dorks Next Door, and I'm like, all right,
like
that works.
I like it.
I'm going to write that down.
I think we have another vote for Dorks Next Door. Codename Dorks Next Door.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a great... That will be our first logo, is just the, the code. That is awesome. I completely forgot about that show. That is a great show.
I'm just now, remembering the art style of it.
Yes, it was awesome. I used to watch that show all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we are looking to rebrand. We're not changing anything. We're not really moving anything. We're staying the same. We are just having to rebrand to get our name out there a little bit better. Mm-hmm. So look for that in the future.
Now we also have a lot of other exciting rebranding things going on that are somewhat of a surprise.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, plus
once those come into play, it'll be pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, plus we have more content coming. Hopefully at some point we can get together to do some gameplays, playing video games, things like that. We'll do that for sure.
Fortnite.
Hey. Fortnite. Listen, Gump and Nico play Fortnite all the time. They're Fortnite. If you go check out their live streams, they play Fortnite quite a bit. They've also started playing, which I haven't got to play yet, Apex Legends, which actually looks really good.
That's what I've been hearing. And
then Realm Royale, which is actually a really fun game. So
we'll do GTA 5 mods and like it's 2015.
You guys should.
There's endless fun in GTA 5 mods, honestly.
That is very true. Nico said you guys should do a wrestling podcast. We do a wrestling podcast with the New World Nerds.
What an amazing suggestion.
Right, with the New World Nerds called New World Wrestling. We live stream every Thursday. They actually just did a pay-per-view review yesterday. I wasn't able to be a part of it, but I will be a part of the Thursday live stream, so check that out. If you are a wrestling nerd like we are, check it out. We enjoy it. Jason, I'm gonna get you to watch wrestling one day.
I think it'll take a long time until I'm comfortable talking about it on a podcast.
Right, but wrestling is just like the comics. In long-term storytelling, you've got these like larger-than-life characters, and they fight. Like it's basically the same thing. It's really sometimes it's the dumbest thing in the world. Like sometimes you get like a DC level storyline where it's not that good, but then sometimes you get like the top tier MCU like everything storyline. So it's hit or miss, but it's a lot of fun.
I know there's a lot of crossover appeal, so I might
yes,
look into it.
Yes, there's a lot of crossover appeals. There's nothing wrong with doing shameless plugs. That's what shameless plugs are for. You just got to do.
That's what I call shameless.
Yes, you just got to do shameless plugs. So yeah, I think this is kind of a shorter episode because we didn't have a whole lot to talk about.
But within the next couple weeks, we'll have a lot of different things going on that we're really excited about. So
yes,
we'll have Captain Marvel, MCU Marathon, and you watching Lord of the Rings.
Yep, and then I think that's like pretty close to leading into Endgame. I think like 2 or 3 weeks later after that's Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
So
sounds about right.
This is a very, very exciting time.
It's hype season.
Yes, it is. It's hype season. And don't go, just let me preface this as well, don't go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at the audience reviews of Captain Marvel because they are nothing but full of lies.
See, nobody's seen the movie yet.
No.
Here's something I want to say. Depending on where your time zone is, at 11:30 Central Time, 11:30 p.m. Central Time tonight, Tuesday night, there will be the first reactions for people who have actually seen the movie, Captain Marvel. Kind of their first reactions, not really reviews and definitely no spoilers. There probably will be spoilers leaking onto the internet at that point. But it will kind of be their initial reactions. So I'm really excited for that.
Yep.
Don't think I'm going to stay up for it, but that'll be what I'm waking up to
and looking at
morning.
for sure. And I can almost guarantee you, they'll probably be like, it'll go from like whatever it is now. I think it's at like 69 or something like that. It'll go from that to like 80 or like higher. It has to, because it's going to be that great of a movie.
Nobody's seen the movie yet, but as soon as they're allowed to open the floodgates on all of the hate, then that's what it lets in. But right now, it's just a trickle.
Just a trickle.
And once the movie actually comes out, it'll be a floodgate.
It'll be a waterfall. Yep.
Positivity, I guarantee you.
Yep, the power of positivity, for sure.
This will not be another Last Jedi.
No, it will not. It will not
I
at
have
all.
faith.
It will not. Okay, so just talking about wrestling. John Cena is super. Yes, he is. The Rock is the most electrifying man in entertainment. That is true. Y'all need to stream with me Fortnite or Apex. Your choice. I know you're a big Fortnite
Apex.
guy. I know you're a big Fortnite guy.
I've never played either of them, but Apex.
We'll have to get together and we'll do that Gump for sure. Start downloading a game, Andy, so you can play by next week. Listen, breaking news on the Nerd Crew podcast. We actually just got brand new internet. And the last video I uploaded to YouTube, which took about... When it took it was like a 20-something or 17-minute video. It normally took me like an hour and a half to download or to upload onto YouTube. It took 3 minutes. So we have brand new internet. I downloaded Kingdom Hearts in like 20 minutes. So it's moving faster now. Because they say that because I tried to update Fortnite and it went from 1 hour to 7 hours that it took so long to update. So there's that. But I've got new internet and it's working a lot faster. So yes, it'll. I just had what happened to you happen to me. It's working very well and I'm very excited about it.
Impressive.
Have you guys talked about the Lego leaks for Endgame? I think we have.
Yeah, I think we've touched on them. There have been more recent ones lately. So this is kind of spoiler-ish talk for Endgame. Now, Legos are not always 100% accurate. Although, compared to a lot of other toys,
they're more accurate than anything else.
Right. Legos usually make things that are actually in the movie. So kind of indications or spoilers for Endgame. We're about to close out the podcast, so if you got to...
if you don't want to know...
If you don't want to know anything at all beyond the trailers, then thank you for joining us. Mm-hmm. I'll say that. That's the first time I've ever said that.
And I respect you for that. Yes.
But a big one that came out this week is War Machine and Ant-Man fighting two Outriders. Outriders are what attacked Wakanda in Infinity War. Those like black creatures with claws. And War Machine is in this giant kind of Hulkbuster looking suit that's like the size of a house, it looks like. Standing next to Ant-Man. Ant-Man is normal size, so he's not shrunk. He's the size of the Outriders.
Okay.
But War Machine is in this giant like Hulkbuster suit with a bunch of like, you know how War Machine's got his shoulder cannon. It looks like it's got like a ton of weapons on it.
Right.
So he looks like an actual War Machine. He's like the size of a tank.
Is that it?
If that's it. Yeah. I don't know if you're able to put that up on the screen, but if you're not, just look up War Machine Endgame Lego leak or something like that. But that's super exciting. I think that War Machine's going to finally get his due in this movie because he's kind of a guy that gets kicked around, or he has been for like the last like.
Well, he couldn't walk for a while. I don't think he's doing much kicking because he couldn't walk for a while.
Exactly. So. That's exactly the problem. So I'd really like to see him kind of get his due in Endgame. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Other Lego leaks, I'm trying to remember. I know there was a Super Quinjet or something.
Well, then you had the suits. Was that Lego or was that just in? Because I think there was a Lego with the white and.
Ant-Man was in his white Quantum Realm suit.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of merchandise with those white Quantum Realm suits, so those are just beyond confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone who was like, they're fake, like 2 months ago can shut up.
They're the same people that are going to hate Captain Marvel, so.
Right.
They have no.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But they're on, I think Merchoid.com is where I saw it, but there are some really sick pre-orders for Endgame hoodies with those black, white, and red color schemes that look really cool, and I think hats too.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get a hat with that color scheme.
That would
really
be dope.
Cool. I'd wear it on the podcast all the time. But I hope that those costumes really work in the movie, and I hope that they look good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that they do.
All right, yeah, me too, for sure. Okay, let's see here. Where did I leave off at? Don't you dare be sour. I'm being hooray for Interwebs. Yo, hit me up, bro. I'll stream with you, and it'll be awesome. You can bring Andy if you must. Gump, you know you love me. Sounds dope. Tell Jason after the show to hit me up on Twitter, or if he has Discord, to hit me up there as well.
Oh boy.
So we'll do one of those. We'll figure that out. He was talking specifically about the Chitauri, the Battle of New York Lego set.
Yes.
I don't know if I've seen that one. I'm going to look it up.
I think I know what you're talking about. If it's the one with Thanos, that's like a Mega Thanos, and it's got like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and Thor, I think, and Tony. That one looks super fake, to me at least. So if it's that one, I would not count on that one being in the movie. I don't know if there's a different one with.
Is that the one that you showed me last week?
Yeah, that's the one that I'm talking about. That one looks.
Or Thanos' body is bigger than his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one looks beyond.
Plus, Spider-Man is in his. Well, no, I guess that is that his Iron Spider suit, or is that like a?
That's a Chinese knockoff of the Iron Spider suit. And the head molds are totally different in that set. And it's really like nothing like the style of what Legos usually are.
Right.
Nothing like the Infinity War style that they had. So
right. So
that one's fake. I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, I would say so for sure.
I'm pretty sure that War Machine one is real, and I'm hoping that we get to see that.
Yes, I think we'll see a lot of people get their due justice in this movie. I think Cap will get his, Tony will get his, but I think a lot of like smaller characters will get theirs. So like I think War Machine will get his. I think Rocket will get a big payoff.
Yeah.
I think you'll see
Hawkeye.
Yes, please give Hawkeye a big payoff. He deserves one. Black Widow even. Like I think you'll see a lot of characters get the big payoff.
Because they cut the supporting cast in half, so they're going to have 3 hours to focus on everyone who's left, and it'll be awesome.
The presiding theory is that the Avengers use time travel to get back to New York and use the Chitauri portal to get to Thanos when he's weak. That's not a bad idea.
That's interesting. And I think I think they're going back to the Battle of New York, and I think that portal is going to come into play, and we'll just have to see how that happens, how that goes down. The Battle of New York might be the final place that they visit kind of on their time travel adventure. But really, I mean, anything that anyone has figured out about Endgame is like the first 30 minutes of the movie.
Right.
And beyond that, it's
all up in the air. It is literally all up in the air.
But I can't wait for kind of that repeat of the Battle of New York. Maybe there will be Chitauri and Outriders. Ant-Man's finally going to be there because he's an OG.
Yeah. I think that would be really cool.
Because the first Avengers movie is my favorite movie, and it holds a very special place in my heart. So being able to see that again.
Do you think we'll see? What was his name? Do you think we'll see? Was it the Unknown? Do you think he'll be in it? The Other. That's right. Do you think he'll be? Do you think he'll make an appearance?
I would not count anyone out of appearing.
That's
because Red Skull showed up in Infinity
That's
War.
very true.
I will not count anyone out.
Shoot, we might even see Ultron in this movie.
That would be incredible.
That would be really cool.
Because I watched Age of Ultron with my brother this morning, and that's something that we talked about. Is if Ultron showed back up in Endgame, that would be.
Honestly, I think you'll see Ultron. I think you'll see a lot of like the major villains from the. I think this is going to be, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I think this is going to be a very nostalgia-heavy movie. With like, I think we might go back to each time that the Infinity Stones were introduced into like the MCU. Guardians, Cap 1.
Thor: The Dark World.
I hope not. You can skip that one. Nobody cares about the Reality Stone.
They just get 5 of the stones. They're like, it's good enough.
Yeah, Age of Ultron was the first time we actually got the mention of the Mind Stone, right?
That was the Mind Stone had been in Loki's scepter.
Right, but nobody really talked about it. And like being the Mind Stone in Avengers, right?
Yes. I think so. I know it's when they extracted the Mind Stone from the scepter. Right. Was in Age of Ultron.
Okay. So we might go back there to like see that, and you'll see Ultron there.
Either that, or I think it was the Tesseract that he used in the Battle of New York. So they could go back to the Battle of New York for the Tesseract. But right. Going back to Age of Ultron,
it'll be for the Mind Stone.
Probably be for the Mind Stone.
Right. Yeah. And then you'll get the Time Stone if they go to see Dormammu. That would be really cool.
If we see the Ancient One again.
Yes, that would be really, really, really cool.
And then the last one is the Soul Stone,
which it hadn't appeared until Infinity War.
Right.
So, but I think it would be cool if you went
to Vormir,
or if you traveled to where like Gamora found the map or something like that. But then nobody else would really know when she actually found.
And if Cap travels to Vormir and he finds Red Skull,
that would be dope.
That'd be really awkward.
That would be really awkward, but that'd be
cool.
really, really cool too to see.
I don't know why he would do that. And
why not?
Who would? Because it could be that Tony could end up having to make a sacrifice there, or Cap has to make a sacrifice. I think that kind of sacrifice for the Soul Stone is going to come back into play.
Right.
Sure.
Right. The movie is still sitting at 3 hours long. I really want it to go like 3.5 hours. Like I want it to be longer. Make it longer. Add more stuff into it. I don't really care. I think that'll be even better. Jason, we need to watch all the Avengers before the Endgame party. Yes, that is true.
Who says that?
Jordan,
you're correct. And we are. I don't know if he's aware that we're having an MCU marathon
before Captain
March
Marvel.
5th and 6th.
March 5th and 6th.
So
we need to. I don't know how we could do this, but like before Endgame, some way, somehow, have an Endgame watch party. Watch all the MCU and live stream it. Like live stream us watching. That would take forever, but that would be fun at some points. At some points, but not every point.
That'd be interesting. It would have to happen over a Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, which we could do. We can make it work. We could figure it out.
Maybe. Me and my brothers are going to find out if we can make it work first.
Yep.
In 2 weeks.
Yep. Nico said he might even be an in-game. Yes, we are all going to be an in-game at some way. Listen, go back to Tennessee. Come back to Tennessee where it doesn't snow. That movie is false in that part.
Yeah.
But come back to Tennessee, and I'll be right in the middle of in-game.
Stop by our recording.
Yes, we'll have
recording studio.
We will have Tony Stark on the podcast for sure. I need to rewatch Age of Ultron. Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually watched it.
It had been a while for me too.
It's not. It's still not the best, but it's not as bad as I kind of remembered it being.
It's not right. Yes. My issue with Age of Ultron is that it just kind of serves as connective tissue for things that are more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But a thing that I will give it is that it is filmed like an actual movie.
Yes.
Which is different from the first Avengers, which looks like a TV show.
Yeah.
At points. And I still think the first Avengers is like, it has acceptable cinematography, but Age of Ultron has a really strong aesthetic to it,
mm-hmm.
which I really enjoy about it. But it's just kind of like the movie moves at 100 miles an hour, apart from being at Hawkeye's farmhouse.
Right.
And it's just action after action after action with no real weight to it. And it's just setting up something, and this person goes here, and this person goes here, and this thing happens, and it's there's no real gravity to it. For a lot of it, it's just kind of weightless intensity and stuff. So I don't dislike it, and I still think it's better than a lot of things out there, but I'd probably give it a 6.5.
Right.
6.
For sure. It wasn't confirmed until Age of Ultron. They didn't mention that any of them are Infinity Stones until the best MCU movie, Thor: The Dark World. So they didn't say Infinity Stone until...
Now, Thor did have that vision in the pool in Age of Ultron where he kind of saw all of the different Infinity Stones, and that kind of set that up, and it set up his Ragnarok arc where he's going around the universe hunting Infinity Stones.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's another thing with kind of Age of Ultron just being connective tissue, to where it's just Thor goes off because he's oh, I saw something and I have to go get it resolved, and it's okay, well, see ya. And then he sees a vision about the Infinity Stones.
He goes to the pool,
back, and it's plot.
Yeah. There's a lot of hit and miss, but hey, that's in every movie really. So.
I will also say that Joss Whedon is probably the best. James Gunn is up there, but at group dynamics, especially in the first Avengers, and it's kind of banter and humor. The Russo brothers are great. The Russo brothers are really good, but Joss Whedon, that's something that he's got them beat on. I think, at least.
I would say
especially in the first Avengers.
Right, and I don't think that you can really count Justice League against him because it really wasn't his movie.
Right, I don't
think if he would have had control of that movie from day one, I think that movie would have been a lot better.
Absolutely.
A lot better. But that was Zack Snyder's movie that he just kind of had to come on and finish it.
And I don't think Joss Whedon's untouchable, but I don't think any director with such a vision that clashes so far from what he was brought on to do could really make that work. I think there are plenty of super talented directors that brought on to Zack Snyder or anyone's movie with a vision totally different from them.
Right.
That's a super difficult situation.
Right.
So.
Right, for sure. I saw Age of Ultron for the first time today. It was pretty good, but nowhere close to spectacular. That is a very accurate statement to say. And then they just talk about spring break. You're supposed to take note. Spring break is March 11th through the 15th.
Note taken.
So, yeah. Do you have any other thoughts? Do we have any other thoughts in the chat that we would like to talk about? Don't forget, we're gonna put up a poll on Twitter and on YouTube about our name, what our new name should be.
Pokemon Go to the polls.
Oh man.
My favorite Hillary Clinton quote. Pokemon Go to the polls.
Yes. That's what we'll say. But for sure, we're gonna put our poll on Twitter and on YouTube. Check that out. If you don't like any of our suggestions, you can leave a comment with what you would name it. We'll probably make the name. We'll probably change the name in like the next coming weeks.
In the next couple weeks, yeah.
For sure.
No rush.
No rush. So don't get used to the saying the Nerd Crew. Get ready to say something else. More than likely, it'll probably be the Dorks Next Door because I think that's my vote right now.
I like it. It's snappy.
It is snappy. So look out for that for sure. Zach and Josh are two completely different. Yes, they are two completely different directors. But I think you didn't really even see Josh Whedon all that much in Justice League. I think it was all just like, how much did they get through before he came on board?
I thought it was like 75%.
Yeah. So was Doomsday on him?
That was BVS. Doomsday was BVS.
That's right. Good Lord. They all run together.
It's tough, yeah.
They all run together.
I think a lot of the banter, and he did a lot of like color correction to make everything look brighter and red, and it was very odd, and they had to re-render a ton of things.
Right.
A lot of the banter between the Justice League members that was just like god-awful, that was Joss Whedon just like completely phoning it in.
Yeah, which he had to at that point. Like at that point, it was
Is
just...
this a bad time to bring up my blood sugar? And then Batman pulls Aquaman aside, and he's like, so, do you talk to fish?
Do you talk to fish? Is that what you do? You talk to fish?
It's just so great. It's a great film.
Man, that... We need to break that movie down. Like, and just watch it.
Yeah, like a cadaver.
Like a cadaver, and just nitpick every single crappy thing.
I think that would be funny. I think if someday we were able to live stream kind of a movie or record a commentary track to where somebody can put the movie on. I've seen this done before.
You can do it on YouTube. Yeah. And we would talk to you while we watch this wonderful Justice League movie.
Yeah, and we can just tear into it because honestly, Justice League is one of the most fascinating dumpster fires
of all
in
time.
Popular culture.
Yes.
And I love talking about it and listening to things about it, even how much it boils my blood as a movie. It is super interesting to see just how spectacularly wrong everything was.
See, your hate for Justice League is... okay, I can't remember. Do you hate Justice League more or Suicide Squad more?
Justice League.
Okay. You hate Suicide Squad more than BVS, right?
I think... yes.
Okay. Because BVS is the one that I cannot stand with a passion. Like, I would much rather have to watch Justice League the rest of my life than BVS.
Interesting.
Because I can't stand Sad Affleck to save my life. He can go away. Well, wait, he is going away. Yay. But yeah, it's we will do something like that in the future for sure. Oh yeah.
And also movies that we like.
Yeah, like
maybe we'll live stream the Harry Potter movies. And
I'm never gonna watch it. I'm never gonna watch it. I'll live stream the Lord of the Rings. We'll do that. We will do that.
Sure, like a 4-hour.
Oh Lord, is it really 4 hours?
No, that's a hyperbole.
Okay, good. Because if it's 4 hours, then that would be a little rough.
Breaks.
That would be a little rough. The Jandy channel. That's what we could call it.
That's brilliant.
Let's see here. I can't wait to mess up your name on New World Wrestling. Yes, that will be really funny. I'll call you out on it too. The Nerd Conglomerate. That's what we could call it. The Nerd Conglomerate. Codename Dorks Next Door. I like that. Or no, he said codename Dorks Next Doot. I think he meant door, but he said Doot. I think I like Doot better. They were finished filming. He ended up reshooting 30% of the movie. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. The Nerd Crew, the Road Chip.
Oh God.
I think BVS is worst of all. Thank you. BVS is worst.
All right. I will say BVS is where everything went wrong. To me, Justice League took it to a new level of terrible.
Yes.
And I also think Suicide Squad is a more technically incompetent film than Justice League.
Yes.
Than BVS. Justice League is just the biggest dumpster fire to me out of all of them.
At least Suicide Squad was fun at some points. Not a lot, but fun at some. Plus, at least they got the character right of Harley Quinn. Like, she was the best part of that movie, for sure.
I will give it that.
But, like, Ben Affleck is not Batman. Henry Cavill is okay at Superman at best. And then when you do...
Henry Cavill is okay at depressed space Jesus, which is as close as they get to Superman. Henry Cavill's wonderful as depressed space Jesus.
Yes, he is.
But as Superman...
He's awful. And then you have the best Lex Luthor of all time.
Obviously.
What's his name?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes, Jesse Eisenberg. You have him because that was the best choice. And then you have the crappy looking Doomsday. There's just
awesome Lois Lane, who everyone cares about.
I was hoping she would die. Like, I was really hoping she would die. The best part of that movie to me was Wonder Woman.
The best part of that movie to me was the Wonder Woman theme.
Yes. That was really cool.
You know exactly
that was really cool.
About. The music in BVS is pretty good.
But that's the only thing good in BVS.
And that's the only thing.
Nerd Crew the Squeakle. That's what we could call it.
Vetoed.
You should start a series watching bad movies and bashing them. We kind of do that already. We just talk about DC when we do that.
He's right that we should.
Yes, we should do that. Justice League is more tolerable than Suicide Squad and BVS. That is not true at all.
Hot take.
Yes. No. Suicide Squad is. Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah. Listen, all three of them all three of them are intolerable.
All three of them melt my brain.
Yes, not in a good way either. Not like Infinity War. Infinity War melted my brain, but it was like there's so much going on, so much greatness going on that it just kind of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see why somebody would say Justice League is more tolerable than BVS and than Suicide Squad. Because it's not like super dark, and it doesn't look like you're watching a movie like through toilet water, which is what every other DC movie
except Aquaman
looks like, except Aquaman.
Aquaman's beautiful.
Justice League, like, color corrected it, and everything looks red.
Yeah, yeah, it really does.
No, and to me, I mean, I've talked and heard so much about Justice League, and I can understand why it would be marginally more tolerable, but to me, it's just the biggest train wreck out of all of them. Even if BVS was the point where things went horribly wrong and Suicide Squad took that to another level, to me, Justice League is just like beyond.
Yeah.
Like a beyond awful.
Yes, for sure. And like, it's really weird how like you look at the different colors. Like, I would say BVS is like black, like
gray,
dark,
yeah.
like dark. I would say Wonder Woman's gray.
Yeah, Suicide Squad is brown.
It's like I would say it's more red. Like, there's a lot of red in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Justice League is like a dark, nasty blue. Like, not even like. And then Aquaman is like aqua. Like, that's just what it is, you know.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's just kind of a non-debate because all of them are just the worst. So like,
I don't know if I would say Aquaman is the worst.
Well, I mean, out of those three, especially.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, out of those three, for sure.
All three of them are just the worst. Even if I think Justice League is the worst and you think BVS is the worst. Doesn't really matter.
It's like trying to determine which turd is more of a turd. Like,
right.
they're all crap. The script was awful in Suicide Squad. Yes, it was. Everybody laughed at depressed Space Jesus. That was funny. We could call ourselves the absurd nerds.
See, I feel like that's kind of overselling.
Yeah.
That's the only problem.
We could call ourselves the DC Hate Club.
It is snappy, though. The DC Hate Club.
No, I love DC. Listen, I love DC. I love DC. They just don't love me back. That's the only difference.
Almost every episode we go down a rabbit trail about DC, so I can understand where that name comes from.
Right, but we talked good things about Aquaman. Or I did, at least. I talked good things about Aquaman. I enjoyed Aquaman. You know, as much as you could, but it wasn't the best. I'm not saying it was the best. I enjoyed Aquaman. And
a staple of a lot of our episodes is going on a Marvel hype train and a DC kind of like,
why can't they fix this?
Train. Yeah, DC like, why?
And then Star Wars is somewhere in the middle.
Maybe.
Yeah,
we might.
Because like we talk good things about Star Wars, and then we talk like bad things. Like, did you see that the Mandalorian or whatever, closed film this week?
No, and I'm super excited about The Mandalorian. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I also heard that they're thinking about doing a series for Rose from The Last Jedi on Disney Plus, and if that happens, then the internet is going to shatter.
Boo!
And our live audience is chiming in. See, I don't like Rose, and I think she's a bad character. I hate so much that people just feel entitled to attack her or attack the actress. The character that she played. Still to this day, it's just insanity, and I think that comic book fans and pop culture fans are some of the most toxic people when you give them anonymity over the internet.
Oh, I wouldn't say that at all. Just go look at Captain Marvel.
We totally disagree on that.
Yeah.
So I would not be one for a Rose series, but if it were to happen, fine. I mean, I hope it's good.
Yeah. Can't blame Henry for Superman being like that. That's the director's fault in the script. I would sort of agree with that.
I would say Henry Cavill isn't the best Superman, but I can see him working.
Yeah.
Under a different context.
Ben Affleck, I think you could have given him the Dark Knight script and he would have sucked.
I wouldn't say he would have sucked. I don't think he's a great fit. I think he could have mostly worked. I don't think that he would be Christian Bale.
No.
I don't think he would be Michael Keaton. But if you're kind of building a universe around him, and if you were doing it in a competent way that makes sense, then maybe.
Mm-hmm. The Upset Nerds.
The what?
The Upset Nerds? Or the Upset Nerds. The Upset Nerds. That could work with the Upset Nerds.
I don't know. I feel like we're pretty chill.
Until DC comes up.
Right. I don't know if...
Or the hate for Captain Marvel. Because that's...
That legitimately upsets
me.
Yes.
That ticked me off last week.
But not anymore because I don't care anymore because the movie comes out in almost 2 weeks.
You're right.
So.
And so it'll speak for itself.
Yes.
And
I can't wait for those reactions tonight because I guarantee you
that's going to be great.
Positive. We're going to be like, what? People like Brie Larson.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes...
Even though she disagrees with me.
The Rotten Tomatoes critics are just the worst. They don't know what to tell them about.
Which is hilarious because I guarantee you people who are review bombing on Rotten Tomatoes don't think Rotten Tomatoes matters at all.
Right. They just want to tank the score.
Yes.
That's all they want to do is just tank the score.
Because Rotten Tomatoes really doesn't matter, but it is a gauge for opinion.
Right.
And I guarantee you these are people who are like, oh, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't matter at all. Which is correct, but Rotten Tomatoes still kind of has a place in movie discussion.
Right. Aquaman is bad, though. I wouldn't say it's bad.
He's right, it's bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's bad. You're wrong on this one, Jason.
It's enjoyable bad.
No, Venom was enjoyable bad.
Nah.
Venom was like so bad that it was enjoyable.
Nah.
Aquaman was good. It was bad in some parts, but it was still like okay.
We'll come back when I see Venom in 20 years.
Yes, don't pay money to see Venom. Just watch it on Netflix or if it ever comes out on TV.
I'm going to pirate it.
The CGI...
That's what Venom would want me to do because he's edgy. He's an anti-hero.
Yeah, for sure. The CGI Lip Club.
Yes. That's the best suggestion so far. We could get Henry Cavill as a guest on the podcast. We could CGI our own lips with the $3 million that Warner Brother used in Justice League to CGI Henry Cavill.
How much?
$3 million that they used.
Yeah.
And if we got that kind of budget to CGI our own lips, and you just checked us out on YouTube, that would be awesome.
Yes, for sure. Rose was awful, but the hate she got was sickening. Yes.
Absolutely my opinion, yes.
Nerd fans can be some of the most deadly pieces of crap ever. So
yes.
they're dumb. I liked Ben as Batman, just bad script in my opinion. Ben is an amazing writer, actor, and director. Yes, except for superhero movies.
Well, yes.
Because Daredevil was trash too.
I think that in BVS, Ben Affleck kind of came through at points, and then as the movie slowly unravels, because BVS is a movie that starts out pretty solid, and then you kind of see where it's going and where the issues are, and by the end of the movie you're like, what on earth am I watching? And by the end of the movie I was like, Ben Affleck, that was not great.
Right.
But near the beginning of the movie, and maybe all the way up until about halfway through, he came through for me, and he was pretty solid, and that's why I can see him working as Bruce Wayne. And I do think he's a talented actor. I think he's far from the best fit, but could he work for me? Yeah, probably. Under different hands, under different direction.
I could see that. It's just at this point, I think he's the character, or his character has been damaged so much that it would be kind of hard to. He couldn't come back from it at this point. He said it is bad. Aquaman is not bad.
It is. It really is. But there are enjoyable things about it.
Stupid Stop Motion said, I like Commandy. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Gump said, come on, Aquaman was aight. Yes, Aquaman was aight. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad.
It's a light 5.
It was aight.
Out of 10. None of the 5.
That's like 5.5 is what I would get. Like, it would, like, it's...
How about a 5.0?
No.
I'll go a 4.
No, I'm not going to go down. I'm not going to go down.
7.
Fine, I'll give it a 5.
I'll keep going down.
I'll give it just a 5.
A strong 4.5.
No, it's a 5. It is a 5. I liked Aquaman. Venom was better just for Spider-Man elements.
Gotta disagree there, because there are, I mean, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 literally had Spider-Man in it, and that was a piece of garbage.
Yeah, that movie was a piece of garbage.
I don't know if including elements, especially when you have to skirt around the fact that Spider-Man is supposed to exist in the same universe as Venom, and it's like you're making just like this cheap spin-off movie only to make money, and it's patently obvious. I don't think that the inclusion of Spider-Man elements when he's literally supposed to be in this movie, but instead it's just a cash grab,
right,
is a good thing.
Right.
It's a bad thing.
Gump said Venom was pretty bad, but the first 2 acts were passable. Venom, listen, I'm not saying Venom was good. I never said Venom was good. Venom is a bad movie. But
Alright, roll the tape of Andy saying Venom is good.
I never said it was good. All I said was Venom was so bad that it was enjoyable. Like, there comes a point... Like Suicide Squad.
Not for me.
Or like Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin for me, yeah. No,
right.
I love watching that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I don't say I love... It's like Batman and Robin, except not even like that good. Like, it's enjoyable, but it doesn't have like a back card. You know, that made that movie the best.
Never leave the cave without it.
Oh man, it's the best. What I did really, really enjoy about Venom was the buddy cop thing between Venom and Eddie. Like, that part was actually really entertaining. And that part was really good. I enjoyed that part. Don't start that hashtag. Don't hashtag Andy loves Venom. You know what? Screw it. I love Venom. All right? You know what? I'll take the bullet. I'll bite the bullet. No, I don't love Venom. It was alright. It was just alright. Yes, Batman and Robin over Venom.
Yeah.
For sure.
Any day.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nico did, it's not in the chat anymore, I don't know what happened to it, but he did say he needs Aquaman put in his veins because it's just a crazy comic book movie. It realizes it's a comic book movie, and that's what it goes after, and I totally agree with that.
If you enjoy Aquaman, I support that.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of the...
I'm happy for you, honestly, because I don't think it is a complete... I don't think it's a complete Justice League. I think it's far from that. I think there are good things about it. I can see why people enjoy it. The problem is for me, and this is just kind of how I work, is that my sense of analysis and kind of like criticism are intertwined with how I enjoy things. And I know that's that way for most people, but with me it's like really strict. So it's
right.
like if I enjoy something, that means I like it, and if I don't enjoy something, that means I don't like it. Or what I meant to say is if I think something's good, then I'll enjoy it. Or if I think something's not good, then I won't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few things that kind of fall out of line with that, especially in music. There's a lot of music that I know is trash that I listen to anyway because I enjoy it. But especially with movies, for me, it's like I find it really, really hard to turn off my sense of criticism.
Right.
When I am trying to enjoy something, and with Aquaman, I'll say it kind of broke through for me, and I do enjoy it beyond how good I think it is, but it's not that far. It's not that far off for me. But I do wish that I was somebody who could just like recognize that, this thing is terrible, but I love it.
Right.
I wish I had an easier time with that.
Right. I totally agree with Nico, and I think this is why I enjoyed it so much, is that it's just a refreshing drink of water from DC. It's completely different than the normal DC, which is one of the reasons why, because it was colorful. And, like, it wasn't this dark, gritty, like, thing. It was actually, like, there was some color to it. So I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed anything else from DC recently.
Just my biggest issue with it is who needs three-dimensional characters when you have Jason Momoa's abs?
Fair point. Fair point.
So
you could have just shown 2.5 hours of Jason Momoa's abs and it'd have been the best movie of the summer.
Again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What
totally.
is it now? Like, it's like in the top 20 like most grossing movies of all time. Which means we're getting a sequel.
Man, I can't wait for
Oh, yeah.
I know we already touched on
I don't want the trench. No, I don't want the trench. I want an Aquaman 2. I would be fine with an Aquaman 2.
If they have Black Manta again?
Yes.
I'm for it.
I will definitely be for it.
Because that was my favorite character.
Gump says the final act of Venom was probably one of the worst final acts in comic book movie history. Black CGI character fighting in the night with close camera angles and quick cuts. Yes, that part was.
With Wonder Woman Act 3.
No, it's worse than that. It's worse than that.
Yeah, I'll have to see it.
Because it's like he said, it's taking place at night. Venom's black. Riot is like this darker gray, and they're coming together as like a blob, and it's like quick cuts, and it's like you don't know who's who. Like you don't know what's fighting, you don't know who's winning.
That's something that I noticed.
It's just like blobs on the screen is all it looks like.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's my problem. That's part of my problem with Venom is that it's just going to be like Venom versus Silver Venom, and then Venom 2 is going to be Venom versus Carnage, Venom versus Red Venom.
Right.
Can't wait. Sounds so epic. That's something that I noticed when I was watching Age of Ultron too. Is there's that one part, and like that's another movie that kind of unravels a little bit as it goes along.
Right.
Nowhere near BVS.
Right.
But still, it starts out really strong, and then it just kind of, by the time you get to the end, you're like, yeah, that was all right. And like the final fight in Sokovia when they're all standing around the magnetic device and they're trying to keep the robots away. There are like a bunch of like weird cuts and stuff for like 15 seconds, and it's not that long.
Right.
But that was something that I noticed as well. Is like if you're doing a final fight like that, you have to be able to see what's happening.
Yeah.
It's kind of very important. There's another issue with BVS too. The final fight against Doomsday. It's like, what the heck is going on?
Right.
I'm watching.
Right. Yeah. It was.
I can't see anything.
Yeah. It got kind of. It gets really messy in the third act, but I don't have to justify myself. Listen, if you want my full review of Venom, just go listen to our episode on Venom. I think that was our first live stream. No, it wasn't. Our first live stream was Aquaman, I think. I don't remember.
Your review of Venom was just me sitting here being like...
Because you've never seen it, yeah, because I had to...
Sure it is.
The Venom and Eddie relationship is so cheesy. Yes, but it's kind of why I like it, because it's just cheesy. That whole movie is cheesy at that point, so... Gump said, wow, Venom over Harry Potter, toxic. Hey, listen.
Ooh.
Listen.
He's right.
I did Twilight over Harry Potter too, so this is 2 weeks in a row that I'm not doing very well. Justin Lee said Venom over Lord of the Rings.
Triple toxic. You're out of here.
Gump said you heard it here first. Oh, you heard it here. Andy prefers Venom over Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. I never said. Not everybody just putting words in my mouth. All right, fake news. Hashtag fake news. And then
facts.
And then he did hashtag Andy loves Venom. Who needs 3D characters when you have Ex Machina's How to Train Your Dragon 2? I've never seen that, so I wouldn't know. From How to Train Your Dragon 2? Okay.
He's right.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Hey, remember when Galactus was a cloud? And then Gump said, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
They did do that in Fantastic Four, didn't they?
When Marvel Studios does Galactus,
it's going to be amazing.
Nobody is going to remember Galactus as a cloud.
I don't even remember him now.
Beautiful.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. When Marvel does anything, it's just going to be beautiful, including Captain Marvel.
Especially when they fix characters who have been, like Doctor Doom.
Well, it's going to be absolutely amazing.
Done such great wrong
twice
in a row. The Fantastic Four, like all of them.
Yep.
When Marvel Studios does them, it's going to be beautiful.
Right.
And I think a lot of the X-Men characters, like, they've been handled decent so far. I don't think Bryan Singer is a great, creative visionary or anything.
Some characters have been kind of left in the dust.
Yes, I agree with
like
that.
Cyclops has been left in, and that's...
Yes.
And even, like, to an extent, I think Jean Grey has been kind of...
And every villain outside of Magneto.
Right,
much.
yeah. Magneto is amazing. Like, Magneto is absolutely amazing.
They do a good job with him. But I feel like Marvel Studios just is going to... This is kind of a tangent, but... Yeah, like nobody's going to remember Cloud Galactus.
Or Doctor Doom. Or any of the other Fantastic Four. Right. Do Fantastic Four MCU? Yes, they need to do the Fantastic Four in the MCU. MCU should do Internals. I know they're doing Eternals.
Yeah. Can't wait for that.
Are you not excited about that?
No, I am.
Oh.
Just Internals. It's like that Magic School Bus episode where they all... Magic School Bus, where they're all in, like, Ralphie's, like, They're all traveling through his body. That's the internals.
Yeah.
But yes, the Eternals. I'm super excited for.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really cool.
Yes, I think it's going to be amazing. It's kind of like you have the Defenders and then the Offenders.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The Eternals and the Internals.
Right. Yes. That's
awesome.
that's kind of. Listen, if they do an Internals movie, I think it'll work very well. Mm-hmm. You know. Do you have any other? I think that's. He said internals. You know what I meant. Listen, I didn't know what you meant. Now listen. He attacks me for not watching Harry Potter. He attacks me for not watching Lord of the Rings. He attacks me for watching Twilight. And now he attacks me for enjoying Venom. And now he's calling me a bully.
You can't win.
No, I can't
win.
This
is the problem with anonymity over the internet.
Right.
You can say
people like Gump just think they can say whatever they want. You know what I mean?
I'm still not on your side, though. But yeah.
Listen, I never said Venom was good. Did I ever say Venom was good?
No.
Okay. Did I ever say that Harry Potter was not even... did I even say Harry Potter was not good?
It's just a meme.
It's just a meme at this point. I don't want to be a meme.
It's Harry Potter that's the meme. It's not you. I think.
We'll see. I'm not sure. He said, why you bully me? Then he tries to say he was attacking Nico. My bad, Andy. I'm sorry. Listen, if you thought my rant on Bill Maher was bad, the rant I'm going to go on Gump is just going to be even worse. I can promise you that. I can absolutely promise you that. Bullies always think they're the victim.
Stellar comeback.
Yes, good comeback. He said, wow, screw you, man. I take my apology back, you bot. I didn't even accept your apology in the first place. So...
I don't think we're going to call it here.
Listen, we're getting too feisty, all right? I feel like we're in like a Star Wars chat room talking about The Last Jedi.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so it's been a fun episode. We've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of rabbit trails.
Listen, that's what we do.
A lot of slow week.
That may be what we need to call it, a podcast. Like the Dorks Next Door, rabbit trails, because we go on so many rabbit trails.
That's the subtitle. It's like Matrix Reloaded.
Yes.
Dorks Next Door.
Dorks Next Door.
Rabbit trails.
Like, comment, subscribe for the Gump rant. No, I'm not gonna go on a rant on Gump. I'm not like him. I'm not a bully.
You first. Andy's going on a rant on Gump.
Oh no, that was in a comment. That was not my words. Yes, Nerd Crew versus Gump. Who wins? You decide. Yes,
2-on-1.
This is what we'll do. Yes, it's a 2-on-1 attack.
Well, actually, I'm the referee.
So it's still 2-on-1 because you're on. If the podcast goes away, then this goes away. So.
You're right.
Yeah. So, I do think we're gonna have to call it here. I think this is a good place to end the podcast. Do you have any other thoughts or anything else, or?
I'm good. Just by tomorrow morning, there will be Captain Marvel First Reactions.
They will be good.
I can't wait.
They will be good. So yeah, like we said, make sure that you stay glued to our Twitter page. Where we will have our poll for what our new name will be. Check that out for sure. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching, whether on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, or Google Play.
And thank you very much to our live
Our
audience.
first ever live studio audience. We appreciate your feedback. Yes, we'll give you a little golf clap. I lost my train of thought again. SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play. Check us out there. Make sure that you leave a like, comment, share, or subscribe. Make sure that you hit that 5-star rating if you're listening to iTunes. Make sure you
Pokemon go to the polls.
Make sure you Pokemon go to the polls. To our poll on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And we may do one on Instagram. Wow. On YouTube, I'm getting all these social media things mixed up. I think so. I can try. I can definitely try. Okay, I'll message you on Discord for your great idea for our channel. I'm very scared now what that is. But yeah, I keep getting cut off, man. I feel like Elias.
This is good because it's a community channel.
It is. This is a podcast for the people, by the people.
That's why it's Dorks Next Door.
Yeah, that's why we are Dorks Next Door.
Maybe.
Hopefully. I may just rig the vote. Never mind.
Just create 5 different accounts. Yeah. It had to be more than 5.
Or I'll just get Russia on the phone. Hot take. Not really. So yeah, that's going to do it. I'm going to end the podcast there for sure. I'm going to just drop it there. Appreciate you guys checking us out. You can follow us on Twitter at the Nerd Crew Podcast. You can follow us anywhere at the Nerd Crew Podcast. You can email us at the Nerd Crew Podcast at gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at I'm Andy York. Jason Momoa never tweeted Jason, so he doesn't want to give out his Twitter.
Legends are not supporting Legends this week. It's sad hour. Keep going.
I'm completely...
It's fine. I'm done.
Okay. But yeah, thank you guys so much for checking us out. Sorry for the long outro. This will be fun to edit. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you guys down the road.